Welcome to So Big Movies. My name is Len Archibald, and welcome to perhaps the single most daunting task of my life, and that is to count down the top 100 most iconic movie trailers of all time. Now, just to put it out there for the uninformed, what is a movie trailer? It is simply a short, edited piece of promotional material in order to sell the film. Trailers normally last around 2 to 3 minutes to give the audience a sense of the story, the stars, and the filmmakers involved, but there are also teaser trailers that may last under a minute, with some teasers lasting 30 seconds. There is virtually no limit on how a studio or filmmakers will creatively use a movie trailer to sell their film. So what are we doing here? Over the next 11 weeks, we are going to count down what is, in my opinion, and let me stress this, what is, in my opinion, the top 100 most iconic movie trailers of all time. This is obviously meant to encourage discussion and debate, so leave a like and comment on trailers you believe are really memorable, and feel free to give me shit over trailers you can't believe I missed. So what constitutes iconic in my mind? Well, to be considered an iconic trailer, it has to meet some, if not all, of the following criteria. The trailer has to be memorable by a wide margin of people. It has to be attached to a memorable film of its own. Has to carry some sort of cinematic iconography. What that means is, what we see in the trailer is full of tropes, symbols, characters, or mythology that is instantly recognizable to cinema or movies itself, like Clint Eastwood as the Man with No Name, or John Williams' score for Jaws, or Isaac Hayes' score for Shaft, or basically anything Star Wars or Marvel lately. Sometimes that iconography becomes almost instant when a trailer is released for a new property if it goes viral, and there will be a few examples of that. The trailer has to be competently edited. How the trailer is put together to evoke mood and storytelling is important. The trailer obviously is unique, influential, and can hold up over time. And finally, how well did the trailer do to sell the film it's promoting? Now, iconic does not always mean the best made. There are trailers out there that will be on this list that lack the sheen and beats of modern trailers, but they are just as influential, remembered, and effectively did its job of promoting the trailer it was made for. Now, at the same time, while this list is my subjective opinion, I really did try to be as objective as possible, or this list would be full of grindhouse trailers from the 1970s. To put together this list, I endured over 7,000 trailers, pretty much from the beginning of cinema up until the summer of 2023. 7,000 trailers. This was exhausting. And to reward myself, we are going to kick off this countdown with a group of honorable mentions. Now, these are trailers that didn't make the final cut, but are still memorable in some way, or are trailers that I personally liked or meant something to me. This list is in alphabetical order and is not ranked. Are you ready? Let's go! Starting off the honorable mentions is the teaser for the hit comedy 9 to 5 from 1980. And this is a nice, cute trailer that focuses on the secretaries that orbit their sexist boss and their daily grind. It starts innocently enough with the unseen secretaries performing mundane duties with a jovial narrator.
They arrive promptly at 9, because if they're not on time, they know they'll get the sack.
But the more they repeat these tasks, the tension rises and builds until we see a drawer open with a pistol in it. What? We then get to see the stars of the film, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton. This was a great little trailer that effectively sold the concept of underappreciated women versus a chauvinistic boss extremely well. 9 to 5 was a massive hit, grossing over $103 million on a $10 million budget, shot Dolly Parton to superstardom, and is still a fondly remembered feminist film to this day.
are we going to appall you with something confidential and disgusting?
Oh man, here is a trailer really near and dear to my heart, and that is the trailer for the Oscar winning 1984 drama Amadeus. So I'm a theater geek, and Amadeus is my favorite play of all time. It's also one of my favorite movies of all time, and it also boasts one of my favorite trailers of all time. I am just a fanboy for anything Amadeus. But to the trailer. It employs one of the most creative ways of voiceover narration to sell the story. Basically, we hear whispers of townspeople acting like gossipers, telling the tale of genius composer and scoundrel Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, played brilliantly by Thomas Hulse, and the rumors surrounding his death. Did the rival Italian composer Salieri, F. Murray Abraham, who won the Oscar for Best Actor, did he murder him?
Believe it. All the same. Could it be possible? Did Salieri do it after all?
The edit for this trailer, intersplicing specific moments with the gossipy whispers, is 100% on point. And just seeing the trailer makes me want to see Amadeus again. Yeah, let's put that on the screen now.
Across this great nation, almost everyone has been affected in one way or another by this terrible tomato onslaught. Mrs. Williams, I understand your husband is missing.
Yes,
Do you think he's dead?
Well,
Will you miss him? Will you marry again? What if he's laying in a ditch somewhere, with both his legs broken, calling your name? You will have to find another man, you know. You're no spring chicken.
Now we are just into silly territory with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes from 1978 and its sequel, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, released 10 years later. These trailers are just fun. They are well-crafted short B-movies of their own, telling the story of sentient tomatoes descending on mankind to take over the planet. The trailer for Attack really leans into the self-parody of the film, while Return is just anarchy.
You wouldn't believe what she can do with 6 milk bottles and a tuning fork.
I don't have to tell you, these are massive cult classics. I'm honestly more of a Return of the Killer Tomato guy. They really went off the rails in that. Nazi tomatoes?
Together with a yuppie pervert.
I also remember the Saturday morning cartoon based on Return of the Killer Tomatoes that I watched a lot as well.
Since the beginning of time, since the first little girl ever existed, there have been dolls.
The most recently created trailer on this list is the teaser trailer for Barbie. And this is one of those trailers that, A, if you're a cinephile, you will probably adore what is happening here, and B, sort of question to yourself, is this movie going to be smarter than we are giving it credit for? The trailer, a parody of the opening scenes of 2001: A Space Odyssey, is hilarious, replacing Neanderthals with little girls playing with boring dolls before Margot Robbie as Barbie appears like a monolith to them, and the scene goes as expected, complete with a doll being tossed in the air like a boat, and we get... When this trailer came out, no one could make heads or tails over it. It was intriguing, though, and further promotional trailers that let the audience in on the world, along with the Barbenheimer phenomenon, where scores of people went to the theater to support both Barbie and Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, pushed Barbie to the moon, becoming an instant sensation, grossing over $1 billion, most likely topping the worldwide box office for this year, and putting director Greta Gerwig in the history books as the first female director to helm a billion-dollar film. And it all started right here with this great little trailer. If there is a filmmaker out there whose films for the most part have pretty entertaining trailers, it would be John Carpenter. Trailers for The Fog, The Thing, Christine, Escape from New York, and Assault on Precinct 13 are either very rewatchable or just plain iconic in their own right. But the trailer I want to show some love to is Big Trouble in Little China from 1987.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. It's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
This is just a super fun trailer that gives us the awesomeness of Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell. And yeah, we got Arnold and Stallone and Chuck Norris and Bruce Willis and Jean-Claude Van Damme, but we don't give enough love to Kurt Russell as an action star, which makes Big Trouble in Little China hilarious in of itself. We get a glimpse into John Carpenter's Little China, full of mysticism, physics defying martial arts, and Jack Burton really believing he is the hero of the story. And that is the absolute brilliance of the trailer, convincing audiences that we are going to see Kurt Russell take charge and save the day. I won't give away much more, but definitely check this film out if you haven't. It's essential John Carpenter viewing.
Oh God, is this really happening?
Black Belt Joe.
There are trailers that you will hear me call comfort food because they just evoke nostalgic feelings in my guts. When I was growing up, me and my boys would watch blaxploitation and kung fu flicks out the ass. And when we were able to get a mishmash of the two, mwah. And we got that with Black Belt Jones. If you want to Frankenstein someone who was a walking impression of the 1970s, Jim Kelly would probably be the result. A perfect fro, righteous sideburns, and pure black power ass-kicking gloriousness. The trailer for Black Belt Jones doesn't only concentrate on Jim Kelly, but the awesome Gloria Hendry, who kicks ass in her own right and is part of one of my all-time favorite scenes in movies, period.
Now, what are you doing? No, you stay here till I get back. Do those dishes or something.
They're done.
The trailer ends with the most obvious stand-in ever, but I don't care. This is some good shit, and I don't apologize for loving something from my childhood.
You shall pay, Black Prince. I curse you with my name. You shall be Blackula. Blackula.
Oh my god, here is a real personal favorite of mine. The trailer for Blackula. Again, comfort food. Delicious blaxploitation goodness. Blackula, starring the amazing William Marshall.
Let the cartoon begin.
Has a trailer sold on its narration.
Blackula. Dracula's soul brother. Deadlier even than he.
And Blackula basically kicking everyone's ass. And let me say, despite the title of the film that seems to suggest a spoof or just a straight up B movie, I feel it can really be a gripping horror movie at times, bolstered by a passionate performance by Marshall. The film was one of the top grossing of 1972, inspired a sequel, and opened the door for a wave of blaxploitation horror film knockoffs.
Blackula. From American International Pictures.
Canon Films. Was there a better movie studio in the 1980s that smacked down B-movie greatness after B-movie greatness? Whether it's Breakin' or Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, the Death Wish films, the Missing in Action films, or something completely offensive like hot t-shirts, Canon strive to unabashedly entertain their audience with good cheese. Every once in a while, though, they get a diamond in the rough. In 1988's Bloodsport, the film that made Jean-Claude Van Damme an international superstar, boasts such a brilliant trailer that it seems to out Street Fighter, which Van Damme would star in years later. Bloodsport was sold on three things: Van Damme's insane athleticism, the different fighting styles of those in the Kumite tournament, and Bolo fucking Young. Mix that in a blender under the guise that this is a true story, and you get one of the most entertaining action movies of the 1980s. You want a trailer that is just style and super cool? Look no further than the trailer for Body Heat from 1981. It's a stupidly simple trailer. Letters spelling out body heat are interspliced with scenes from the film, but it's edited in such a way that you get a really good idea of what this neo-noir thriller is about, and the chemistry between Kathleen Turner and William Hurt is off the charts. The sound design for this trailer is also great, with those wind chimes acting as an omnipresent sound of dread as those letters burn and also sound like gunshots. We get such a sense of director Lawrence Kasdan's self-confident eye. He directed this right after The Empire Strikes Back. What insane range. This is an underrated gem that I definitely recommend to check out. This is one of those times where the title of the film describes the trailer, and that is for the 1972 blaxploitation flick Cool Breeze. And this trailer is slick as hell. The film follows a released convict who has a great name, Sidney Lord Jones, played by the actor who has the single greatest name in Hollywood history, Thalmus Rasulullah, and his plan to steal $3 million in diamonds. The trailer breaks down Sidney's team a la Ocean's 11, and I don't know if it's just me, but the trailer narrator's reading of
The Money Man
kills me. I'm down for that score as well, because it just slaps. What sucks, though, is the movie itself isn't very good and has aged really poorly, and man, oh man, was I disappointed that such a wonderful trailer could produce such a disappointing end result.
You have killed. And you will kill again.
We have the trailer for Dario Argento's brilliant Deep Red from 1975, and I'm going to level with you. For the longest time, literally up until the very last reevaluation, I had the trailer for this giallo masterpiece on my top 100 list. And I wanted to keep it on the list, but it just got squeezed out at the last minute. But the trailer for Deep Red is pure class, full of compositions and the unique gory eye of Dario Argento, and this was peak Argento, just before he unleashed Suspiria on the planet, and you could tell from the rising tension from this trailer, audience members were in for a panic-inducing good time. And Deep Red was a massive hit for Argento, and the film is considered a defining one of the giallo genre. For anyone looking for something wild and different, do not sleep on Deep Red.
Allow me to make introductions.
Okay, this is an absolute guilty pleasure.
Screw you, this is my list, and I get to talk about what I want. I'm about to lose all credibility here.
We have two action films, Force 4 and Force 5, made 6 years apart. And no, these films have absolutely nothing to do with each other. But the 1970s and 80s, man, it was just the Wild West. Okay, first Force 4 from 1975, a blaxploitation kung fu flick that you could tell from the outset the film probably isn't very good, but goddamn, the trailer is entertaining as hell. We get a fourth wall breaking narrator who just sounds like he smoked some of the best keef on the market.
We get invited to some really moving parties.
As we get introduced to each of the titular four. And that song. You pick a good track for your trailer, and you will get me every time. And this dude, he is ready to go.
We are Force 4. Come on round and join us. We'll have us a ball.
Force 5, released in 1981, has a pretty formulaic plot. A government agent assembles a force of 5 martial arts experts to topple a corrupt organization behind one of the world's most powerful religious leaders.
In number, they are 5. In force, they are an army.
Again, watching some elements of the trailer may give it away that it may not be a quality movie. This was Robert Klaus's follow-up to Enter the Dragon. But the trailer itself is so damn entertaining as we get to see each of the 5 do their thing, kicking ass, and it's easy then to forget that quality. This sounds like a movie Quentin Tarantino would reference in one of his films, but we got Fox Force 5 referenced as a TV pilot instead. But I could see Uma Thurman kicking ass in this movie as well.
Force 5.
There are 200 seniors at Midvale High and 7 days till graduation.
Next up is the trailer for the slasher Graduation Day, released in 1981, and what a slick little trailer this is. Midvale High always produces winners. And death. And we get a great rundown of the story. 7 days until graduation, and Midvale High is being tortured by a serial killer bumping off the school's star athletes. Combine that with a great little motif of the murders, turning into stills included in a yearbook, and that kicking tune Gangster Rock by Felony. And I've said it before, if you attach a righteous headbanger to a trailer, you will hook me every time. This is actually a really well put together piece of business, and it helped because Graduation Day was a massive hit, bringing in $24 million on a budget of $250K. And it is seen as an underrated cult classic among horror fans.
Graduation Day.
Talk about a trailer that got pushed out of my final list at the very end, and that hurts me. But I get to talk about it anyways because I do what I want. Anyway, we have the trailer for 2018's Hereditary, directed by Ari Aster. And honestly, this could really be a spot for all the A24 trailers because they're all amazing and unique in their own right.
And damn it, I just inspired myself to create a new list.
Anyway, this is about Hereditary, and from the moment that coffin lowers to reveal that A24 logo in the ground, we know it's on. And this trailer is just creepy, moody goodness that is also sold on the completely fearless performance by Toni Collette. Yes, she should have gotten an Oscar nom. Yes, she didn't because she was in a horror movie and that shit needs to end. But the trailer gives us just enough to intrigue the audience before they get the rug pulled out from under them. Hereditary was a monster success on all fronts, receiving widespread critical acclaim and made over $82 million on a $10 million budget, becoming A24's highest grossing film ever at that time before the release of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Family.
This is good. We have a cult classic here, 1975's Inframan. And this trailer is bananas. So bananas that I, in fact, have to issue a warning for anyone who are legit prone to seizures. This might be a little triggering. But if you want to talk about a kitchen sink trailer that gives you everything, this is it. Inframan, released by the Shaw Brothers, is basically the Power Rangers on cocaine. It is obnoxiously loud, visually chaotic, and absolutely hypnotizing.
Can Inframan survive heat that melts rock? Cold that freezes fire? Is Inframan a match for Men of Steel?
Inframan has amassed a pretty significant cult following, with it even being one of the very few films Roger Ebert has ever reevaluated and changed his rating for, with him re-rating Inframan 3 out of 5 stars, after his original review gave it 2.5 stars.
Inframan, the ultimate in science fiction.
I remember seeing this trailer for Jacob's Ladder in 1990 and instantly saying to myself, I have to see this. And even though I wasn't old enough to see it in the theater, when it was on VHS and I was able to rent it, I did. And this movie blew my mind. So to say the trailer did its job to sell the film is an understatement. This is a great little short film of its own, telling the story of poor Jacob Singer, played by Tim Robbins, and his road to discovering the ultimate truth about his life. If you have not seen this movie, I am giving nothing else away. This is a movie to really experience, and the trailer does such a great job of building tension and selling Tim Robinson's portrayal of a man on the edge of sanity. Or maybe insanity. This is one of the few trailers that really lives up to the hype. There was a time when Mel Gibson wasn't seen as the butt of celebrity-based jokes. He was actually seen as one of those working class celebrities, you know, the type that people would say, oh yeah, I'd like to have a beer with him, while their wives fantasized about him. Yeah, he was a big deal. And Lethal Weapon, released in 1987, put him on another level. The film that followed suicidal and reckless cop Riggs, played by Gibson, being partnered up with perpetual retiree Murtaugh, played by Danny Glover. And this is just a fun-as-hell trailer that gives us everything we need to know about this mismatched pair and their misadventures.
Ever met anybody you didn't kill?
Well, I haven't killed you yet.
Obviously, Lethal Weapon was a lethal hit, spawning a franchise, a television show, and there is now finally a 4th sequel in development.
Oh, too old for this.
George Romero didn't only make zombie movies. In fact, some of his non-zombie productions are just as interesting. Take Martin from 1977. This tells the tale of Martin, played by John Amplas, a self-professed vampire trying to live in today's world. This is a great trailer, bolstered by Amplas's performance as he talks to the camera about his plight as a vampire in the modern world, how the mythos surrounding vampires like sunlight, garlic, and crosses aren't really true, and how he actually gets blood to survive.
I have to be careful all the time. But I'm pretty good at it. I think as I get older, I get better. I haven't been caught yet.
And it's graphic and a little disturbing. And again, Amplas is amazing at selling how exhausting it is to be a vampire posing as a serial killer. Definitely check this out if you're looking for a wacky kind of horror film or want to get deeper into Romero's filmography. Comfort food! I grew up watching kung fu flicks after Saturday morning cartoons and pro wrestling was over. 1976's Master of the Flying Guillotine is one of the first martial arts films outside of Enter the Dragon I remember vividly because
he comes from beyond time, from beyond the outer limits of your imagination. He's the master of the flying guillotine. And he's ready to blow your mind.
This guy is just the dopest of dope, and that narration sells the hell out of this movie. We also get to see where the inspiration for Taoism from Street Fighter comes from. This is pure B-movie cult classic guilty pleasure goodness, cited by Quentin Tarantino as one of his favorite movies as well.
The master of the flying guillotine.
I'm not sure if there's a more, this is exactly the movie we are selling trailer than 1983's slasher classic Pieces. This is a brilliantly short and to the point bit of business. What more do you need?
Pieces. It's exactly what you think it is.
Pieces, a co-production of the US and Spain, has a pretty rabid cult following, and while I applaud the movie for straight up going for it, I admit it hasn't aged very well. Oh, Brian De Palma, you Hitchcock wannabe. But if you're gonna steal, steal from the best, and De Palma is one of the greats. Sisters, released in 1973, is one of those older films I didn't catch until I was well into my 20s, but it was this trailer that made me want to see it. The trailer for Sisters tells you everything you need to know. First, a brief lecture on conjoined twins. Then we get right into the titular sisters.
And Dominique, one loving, one hating, one innocent, the other...
And then the trailer goes down its own rabbit hole until its climax is a true WTF moment. This trailer is a blast and really sells the twisty nature of the plot and De Palma himself, here pretty much hailed as the next Alfred Hitchcock by several critics.
What the devil hath joined together, let no man cut asunder.
Would you like for me to point out the exact moment Star Wars went from cultural phenomenon to the greatest media property on the planet? It's right here, with the release of the Star Wars trilogy in 1997, right before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Whoever edited this trailer is a genius. It starts out with a TV screen, and the very true narration that a generation of fans have only experienced Star Wars on TV with TV sound.
But if you've only seen it this way, you haven't seen it at all.
Once that X-Wing flied out of the TV and into the screen, I remember losing my shit. Star Wars on the big screen? Star Wars sounding like Star Wars? New effects? New scenes?
Shut up and take my money!
Of course, I didn't know at the time that some of these changes were sacrilege to some fans. Just give me hyperdrive on the big screen. The release slate for the trilogy just kept audiences on their toes and coming back to the theaters, and this whole project was a massive success, priming the world for The Phantom Menace, and despite how one may feel about that movie, there is no denying that it was an event. And this started it all.
The Star Wars Trilogy, Special Edition. See it again. for the first time.
The Force will be with you, always.
We get a pair of trailers next, and they're for two Dirty Harry movies, Sudden Impact from 1983 and The Deadpool from 1988. The Sudden Impact trailer is notorious for one reason alone.
Go ahead. Make my day.
And is a pretty well-paced piece of business. But the trailer for The Deadpool, accompanied by Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle, is highly entertaining, while also raising the stakes as there is a serial killer specifically targeting Dirty Harry, and we get to see Jim Carrey unleashed as a deranged lunatic. I always wondered why Clint Eastwood never visited the Dirty Harry character again after this, but honestly, I feel it was for the best, because the next phase of his career that followed, starting by directing Unforgiven, is the stuff of movie legend.
Clint Eastwood is Dirty Harry. He's just learned a new game, the Deadpool.
Have you ever jacked in? Have you ever wire-tripped? No? A virgin brain. Well, we're gonna start you off right.
Talk about something completely different and a true trip. This is the trailer for 1995's Strange Days, directed by Catherine Bigelow and co-written by James Cameron, their only collaboration when they were married. And I could have taken more of what they were dishing out if this was their input. This trailer is just a blast, where a cracked out Ray Fiennes just jump cuts his way talking about wire tripping.
I can make it happen. I can get you anything you want. Just have to talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Which really is just an excuse for Fiennes to go off the rails, sounding like a coked out drug dealer. Visually, this trailer is awesome. And the only reason this isn't on my top 100 is Strange Days was such a bomb that it nearly ruined Catherine Bigelow's career. So you really don't hear about this movie a whole lot. But if you can find it, definitely check it out. David Cronenberg. This man makes me proud to be Canadian and weird. When I found out the dude that made Scanners was from my city of Toronto, it really made me feel that I didn't need to be from Los Angeles to have a creative mind. And man, Videodrome is it. This trailer is somehow totally 1980s, yet is so avant-garde that it still holds up today.
Max Wren is a victim.
I woke up with a headache.
He has been exposed to Videodrome.
I've been hallucinating for a while, ever since...
What?
Since I...
We learn of the story of Max Wren, played by James Wood, who has been turned on to a channel called Videodrome. What's Videodrome? It's not explained, but it makes television sexy, and guns melt into hands, and all sorts of other weird shit. And Deborah Harry of Blondie, what are you doing here? This movie is just fucked up in all the best ways, and if it came out today, would definitely be released under A24. Definitely check this out.
Long live the new flesh.
We are ending the honorable mentions with a bang, and we are indulging in some Italian horror. And not just any Italian horror, but goddamn Lucio Fulci. Here is the trailer for Zombie, and the trailer gets real from the start, saying it's going to eat us. Then we get the slow spelling of the title of the film, and it's on this stark white background that's sort of jarring. And with that weird, creepy score, the trailer is only preparing us for carnage, because when it comes hard, with gross-looking zombies popping out from everywhere. This is considered one of the essential titles of the zombie genre. I mean, the movie is called Zombie. Was a staple of practical horror effects and landed on the infamous UK Video Nasties list. What put this trailer over the top, though? Being so sure the movie will gross out its audience that it offered them barf bags. Balls. We need these kind of gimmicks back in theaters. And with that, we've come to the end of the countdown. And if I was going to pick a favorite trailer from all of these, it would be Deep Red. I just love Argento. He just knows how to compose shots to just make everything look great. The trailer's just well paced, and it just drips with mood and atmosphere. And again, this was Argento at the peak of his powers, literally right before Suspiria. Next week, we begin the countdown. It's all downhill from there. What are some of your favorite trailers? Leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you want to get notifications. Until next time,